Welcome back, guys. Between Bells on Cheddar News. I'm Baker Machado in New York, and the Premier Lacrosse League, or PLL, is the fast-growing men's professional lacrosse league in North America. The league is made up of 8 teams rostered with the best players in the world, and despite pandemic-related ticketing restrictions and social distance seating, the PLL has actually sold the most tickets of any weekend in league history, that during the first week of the league's 3rd season. So joining us now is Paul Rabil, co-founder and CMO over at the Premier Lacrosse League. Great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us, Paul. So what have you seen so far this season when it comes to the league's growth?
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. I think that our audience, sports fans, and even people around the country are excited to just get back outside and experience live sports, experience live events. And for groups like the PLL and other leagues that were able to persevere through the pandemic in our bubble-based model in 2020, being able to sell tickets again and have sponsorship activation, merchandise on site, all of that stuff is creating this strong return back to a state of normalcy.
Okay, so what was it like to have fans and the season and everything back going all over again? I can only imagine waiting for this period of time for so long for you guys finally to have the game start again.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a lift as a player, as a front office, and then fans. I mean, it's part of the integral nature of live sports and entertainment is that fans have a voice, they have their favorite players or favorite teams, and that type of energy they bring into the stadium. And it even comes out on broadcast with our NBC partnership and what we've done with Peacock this year, illuminates everything. And for those that are diehard sports fans that were watching sports all last year without fans, even like late night television without the live laughs, it sucks a little bit of the oxygen out. So it's great to have everyone back.
Okay, so a lot of people probably don't know this. You simultaneously are part of the executive team and you play in the league at the same time. What's that like to sort of have to wear 2 hats in this league?
It's really hard. It's challenging because, I think when we're a part of the build of any business, you are intimately close to every move that's made. And as a player in sports, I think what's unique is that you're able to live in that present moment, just isolate down to what matters, which is your performance physically and mentally. So I thought my biggest concern when we launched the league back in 2019 was going to be me on the field, looking at the LED boards, making sure that sponsorship activation was right, and then checking out the fans in the stands. But in the end, it's actually not as difficult as one might suggest, because what makes sports so great, and we've learned this at a young age, is that once you step on the field, the distractions go away.
Absolutely. And by the way, you broke the all-time record for professional lacrosse points over the weekend. Congratulations on the record. What was that feeling like when you broke that?
It was a unique one. Right. I think in team sports, we're taught to focus on the team. You know, there's no I in team. And that holds true. Any successful athlete over time in team sports knows that you're only as good as your wins and your ability to accomplish wins in the most strenuous circumstances. So when you set individual accomplishments as part of a team, it's always a little bit unique and difficult to talk about. And we actually bring mics on field and interview our players during games as part of our innovative broadcast. And I was getting interviewed by Paul Burmeister at NBC after that point record was set. And I couldn't really give him a good reaction because I just wanted to win that game. So I think it's a reminder that I'm old, that I've played with great teams and great coaches, and the ball's bounced in my direction more times than it hasn't.
Yes, the revelations when you realize you're getting older are always the worst out of all of them. By the way, you guys have gotten some great financing coming in for the league as well. Robert Kraft, of course, we all know him as the owner of the New England Patriots. Joseph Tsai from the Brooklyn Nets as well. What are investors really seeing in this league as it continues to grow by the year, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, our capital raising strategy, I think, was unique out of the gates. We're a true single entity league. So most team sports are called trade associations, and they're independently operated on a team basis by Robert Kraft, as you mentioned, with the New England Patriots, and then part of the NFL Board of Governors. So our entire capitalization table consists of the likes of Joe Tsai and Robert Kraft and HBSE and Rain Ventures and Chernin Group and CAA. So we believe we have the best operators and investors in sports, because building a league from scratch is really hard. So you have to touch not only the operational, but the sponsorship, marketing, most importantly, media and distribution. So we have a lot of savvy investors on the media side that are helping get this game in front of as many people as possible, which I think is half the battle when it comes to building awareness around a new sport.
And Paul, obviously, sports betting, gambling, huge when it comes to the next frontier of these sports. All the leagues are sort of having to adapt to it. What's your take on sports gambling and betting, and how do you sort of see it playing a role for you guys?
Oh, it's critical. I think to your point, it leads to not only growth in viewership, growth in sponsorship, but most importantly, engagement. And you're bringing in casual sports fans that may not be aware of lacrosse, much like what happened during the pandemic, where ping pong was one of the only games being played, and they saw this huge influx of viewership because they turned on betting. So we have our integrity services partner, which is integral to getting something stood up in Genius. And then we have a sponsorship with DraftKings where they lead all of our sponsorship marketing. They set the odds. They're continuing to work on live odds so you can engage people during the broadcast. But it's the future of sports. And as we design our tour-based model further in years to come, we'll look to play in more sports betting states.
All right. Well, congratulations, Paul, on all the success. A lot of good stuff happening with you guys. Paul Rabil is the co-founder and CMO of the Premier Lacrosse League.